The human soldier Mark Wren stepped out of the small shuttle and walked onto the bright purple ground of planet Velora. He was here as part of a peace mission. Everyone had told him Velora was a calm, friendly world. But the moment he looked around, he felt something was weird. The air smelled like sweet fruit. The sky was bright pink. Trees looked like giant feathers. And the aliens, tall, elegant women with glowing skin, were standing in a perfect line near the landing area. They looked peaceful, but something in their eyes made Mark feel nervous. Still, Mark kept walking. Behind him, two other humans followed Lieutenant Harris and Dr. Lena. The humans were ready with gifts and translators. Everything was supposed to be easy. Mark took one more step forward, and that was when everything changed. Three alien women suddenly stepped out from the line. They walked toward Mark with soft smiles. Their long dresses were made of thin, shining cloth that moved like water around their legs. Mark thought they were going to shake hands or bow, but instead, they lifted the front of their dresses all the way up. Mark froze. Harris froze. Dr. Lena dropped the translator device. What are they doing?" Harris whispered. Mark's heartbeat jumped like he had been shocked. His eyes went wide. He quickly looked away because he thought this was some kind of accident or something personal. But the alien women continued smiling, waiting, holding their dresses up proudly like this was completely normal. Mark felt his throat dry up. He whispered, "Do not look. Oh God." But he could still feel their eyes on him. The alien guards nearby did not react with anger. They did not shout or attack. Instead, they looked confused, almost disappointed. One guard whispered to another in their language, shaking her head slowly, like Mark had done something wrong. Dr. Lena finally picked up the translator device and pressed a button. She pointed it at the aliens. Before she could speak, one of the alien women stepped closer. Her voice was calm and gentle. "Human, why do you not respond to our welcome?" Mark blinked fast. "Respond? How? To this?" He cleared his throat. Hello. I did not expect this." The translator spoke for him, but the alien women still looked confused. They expected something else. Something very specific. Mark looked at Harris for help. Harris looked back like he wanted to run away. Dr. Lena whispered, "Mark, I don't think they understand human greetings. This might be their normal tradition." Mark whispered back, "Do not tell me they're normal. Tradition is this." But the aliens were still smiling normally, like nothing strange was happening. One alien tilted her head and asked again, "Why does the human not return the gesture?" Mark's stomach dropped. Return the gesture? He looked at Harris with horror. "They want me to do the same thing." Harris instantly shook his head. "Nitrogen monoxide? Absolutely not. Never." But the alien women were waiting, looking at him with sweet, hopeful eyes. One even stepped closer and held her dress even higher, as if showing respect. Mark quickly tried something else. He bowed politely, a small, safe human bow. The reaction was instant. The aliens gasped loudly. Guards stepped forward with shock. Two alien women hid their faces. One whispered something fast, sounding almost panicked. Mark straightened up fast. What did I do now?" Dr. Lena swallowed hard. "Mark, I think bowing might have a different meaning here." "How different?" "I think." She hesitated. "I think bowing means romantic interest." Mark turned pale. "So they think I just proposed to all three?" The aliens whispered quickly among themselves. One guard stared at Mark with wide, sparkling eyes. Another guard placed her hand on her chest, as if touched by his romantic signal. Mark stepped back. "This is bad. This is very bad." Before anyone could calm the situation, a sudden soft humming filled the air. A bright floating carriage moved toward them. It was covered in glowing petals and gold patterns. Dr. Lena whispered, "Mark, that is royal transport." Mark's knees almost gave out. Why is the royal transport coming here? The carriage stopped. The alien driver, dressed in silver cloth, pointed at Mark. You, human, come with us. The queen wishes to meet the one who greeted her daughters in the old sacred way. Mark's brain shut down for 3 seconds. What old sacred way? I didn't do anything sacred. But the driver only smiled gently and repeated, the queen is happy. She prepares a royal welcome. Harris stepped beside him. Mark, I think you just became part of their ancient marriage ritual. Mark stared ahead, stunned that he had come for a simple peace mission. And now, just because 3 alien women lifted their dresses, and because he bowed, the queen thought he wanted to marry her daughters. Mark whispered to himself, I am going to die on this planet. Mark sat inside the glowing alien carriage, his heart beating like a drum inside his chest. The soft golden lights around him made everything look peaceful. But his mind was the opposite of peaceful. He whispered to himself, this is the worst diplomatic mission in human history. Lieutenant Harris and Dr. Lena were left behind at the landing site. The alien guard said, only the chosen human may meet the queen. The chosen human. Mark almost cried when he heard that. How had he become chosen? He didn't want to be chosen. He wanted to go home. The carriage moved smoothly through the alien city. Tall buildings curved like shells, glowing gently with soft purple light. Alien women greeted the carriage as it passed. Some waved. Some lifted the front of their dresses toward him. Mark immediately covered his eyes. Please stop doing that, he whispered to himself, even though they couldn't hear him. Soon, the carriage stopped in front of a huge palace covered in dancing light patterns. 2 massive doors opened automatically as if the building itself welcomed him. 2 royal guards walked forward. Both were tall, elegant women with long shining dresses. They looked at Mark with warm smiles. And then, they also began lifting their dresses. No, please. Stop, Mark shouted before he could control himself. The guards froze, shocked. They slowly lowered their dresses again. One guard whispered, is the human angry? Did we offend him? Mark took a deep breath. He needed to stay calm. No, I am not angry. Humans do not greet this way. Both guards exchanged confused looks. The second guard asked softly, then why did you use our sacred romantic bow earlier? Mark's face turned red. It was an accident. I didn't know your customs. The guards blinked slowly. They looked surprised. One even whispered, so humans do not study our culture before visiting. Mark groaned inside. Please just take me to the queen. The guards nodded and guided him through the long palace corridor. Beautiful music played from floating crystals. The walls were made of shining stone. Everything looked peaceful, except Mark's anxiety. A large door opened, and Mark stepped into a huge hall. At the end of the hall sat the Queen of Velora, graceful, tall, wearing a crown made of floating golden petals. Her skin glowed like a small star. And beside her stood the 3 princesses, the same women who had greeted Mark earlier by lifting their dresses. All 3 smiled brightly at him. Mark's soul almost left his body. The queen raised her hand. Her voice echoed softly through the hall. Human Mark Wren, you honored my daughters with the bow of devotion. For this, we welcome you as family, Mark tried to speak. Your Majesty, there's a small problem. But she continued joyfully. My daughters accept your union. They say you are polite, gentle, and humble. Mark almost choked. Humble? Polite? He had just been trying not to scream. One princess stepped forward and spoke shyly. Your bow was beautiful. It was so deep and full of emotion. Mark wanted to sink into the floor. Ma'am, with respect. I had no idea bowing means romantic interest. The queen gasped. Softly, you did not know? You bowed without knowing its meaning? Yes, Mark shouted. Humans bow as a sign of respect, not love. The entire hall went silent. Even the floating crystals stopped glowing for a moment. The queen blinked. Once, then twice. Then all three princesses looked at each other, confused. The queen finally spoke again. So, you were not proposing marriage? Mark raised both hands. No, absolutely not. Another long silence. Then the oldest princess whispered, But you bowed. You used the sacred signal. Only. Lovers bow. Mark squeezed his eyes shut. This was a nightmare. He explained slowly. Humans use handshake for greeting. Bowing means respect. We do not lift dresses. We do not use romantic bows. I did not mean anything wrong. The queen leaned back, thinking deeply. After a moment she said, Your customs are strange. Mark almost laughed. Your customs are strange. But he forced himself to stay. Calm. The queen stood up and walked down the steps with slow grace. She stopped in front of Mark. Her eyes were serious now, not playful. Human Mark, this misunderstanding is big. If my people think you rejected my daughters, it may cause shame or conflict. Mark felt his stomach drop. Conflict, war, all because he bowed by mistake. He swallowed hard. Please, Your Majesty. I want peace. I want to fix this. The queen looked directly into his eyes. Then you must help us make a new greeting. A greeting for humans and Valorans both, Mark blinked. A new greeting? Yes, a greeting that is respectful. Without dresses or romantic bows. Mark nodded slowly. I can do that. The queen smiled gently. Good. If we do not fix this, the entire galaxy will believe you broke the hearts of 3 royal daughters. Mark whispered, Please. No galaxy drama. The queen raised her hand. Then teach us your human greeting. Mark knew exactly what she meant. It was time to introduce the handshake. Mark stood in front of the queen, his hands sweating. The palace guards, the floating crystals, and the 3 princesses were all watching him with curious eyes. He felt like he was inside a giant spotlight where one wrong move could start an interplanetary war. The queen waited patiently. Show us the human greeting. Mark slowly raised his hand. All the aliens gasped loudly. The guards took a step back. One princess covered her mouth like he had just done something scandalous. Mark froze. What now? I just lifted my hand. The queen whispered, shocked. On Valora, lifting the hand is a royal challenge, or a challenge for a mating duel. Mark dropped his hand immediately. Nope, no mating. Not even close. The 3 princesses looked disappointed. The queen cleared her throat. Human greetings are dangerous, Mark sighed. No, they are not dangerous. You just don't know them yet. He extended his arm again, but slowly, carefully. The aliens tensed again. Mark placed his other hand over his chest. This means no challenge. It means friendly. The queen stared hard at him. If you lie, I will be forced to send the death choir. Mark blinked. The death choir? They sing at your funeral. The queen explained calmly. Mark stopped breathing for 2 seconds. So he tried again, this time with a soft smile. The queen watched every movement like a scientist studying a bomb. Mark extended his hand toward her. This is called a handshake. Humans use it everywhere on Earth. It is safe. It is respectful. The queen looked at the hand as if it was a dangerous creature. One princess whispered, Mother, what if the human bite ritual follows after? This? Mark almost fell to the floor. Why would we bite someone? Princess number 2 shrugged. We heard humans bite to show dominance. Mark shook his head fast. No, that is not normal. That is not part of a greeting. The queen finally took a deep breath. Very well. I accept your human greeting. She slowly lifted her hand and placed it in Mark's. For one beautiful second, everything was calm. Then flash. The entire hall exploded with bright golden light. Alarm bells rang. Guards pulled out glowing staffs. Princesses screamed. Mark almost fainted. The queen snatched her hand back. What was that? The floating crystals around them flickered like fireworks. Dr. Lena would later explain it was just a cultural recognition burst. The palace sensors automatically reacted to the first human royal physical contact. But right now Mark had no idea. He shouted, "I didn't do anything. I swear." Guards surrounded him instantly. Princess number 3 yelled, "Mother." His touch activated the Hall of Bonding, the ancient prophecy. Mark's eyes widened. Prophecy? What prophecy? I didn't touch anything except your hand. Princess number 1 spoke. With fear, the Hall of Bonding only activates when someone meets their destined partner. All 3 princesses looked at Mark. Mark backed up until he hit a pillar. No destiny, no bond. I'm just a guy trying to shake hands. The queen stared at Mark long and deep. Human Mark. Is this connection real? Mark felt like crying. No, I don't even know how your sensors work. But the queen remained silent. She walked slowly around him, studying his posture, his eyes, his breathing. Finally she said softly, "The Hall of Bonding has not activated in 600 years, Mark." Whispered, "Please, no ancient drama. I'm not special. I'm definitely not anyone's destined partner." But the queen shook her head. Destiny does not ask permission. The princesses stepped forward at the same time, their glowing eyes fixed on him with dangerous curiosity. Princess number 1, maybe he is meant for me. Princess number 2, no, the prophecy said the chosen one will be confused and loud. That sounds like him. He shouted 3 times already. Princess number 3, he looks nervous. That is also part of the prophecy. Mark held up his hands. Stop, no prophecy. I protest. A royal guard whispered. Humans shout like thunder. I like it. Mark wanted to go home, right now. Immediately, but things got worse. 2 messengers ran into the hall, kneeling before the queen. Your Majesty, the people outside are celebrating. They think the human has accepted all 3 princesses. Mark's body froze like a statue. What? Who told them that? The messenger replied. The floating news crystal overheard your bow earlier and broadcasted it to the entire city. Mark felt his soul leave his body again. A news crystal? Why would it broadcast that? The queen looked at him calmly. Human Mark. The city already believes you are the future son-in-law of Valora. Mark covered his face. I just wanted to shake hands. The queen put a gentle hand on his shoulder. Do not worry, I have a plan. Mark opened one eye. A plan? To fix everything? The queen smiled. A plan to prepare you for the marriage ceremony. Mark screamed internally. Mark wanted to run. He wanted to disappear. He wanted to jump back into his shuttle and fly away before the aliens placed a marriage crown on his head. But he could do none of that. 2 tall royal guards stood behind him like mountains, smiling warmly, too warmly. The queen walked ahead with slow grace. Prepare the Hall of Union, she ordered. Mark whispered to himself, not the Hall of Union. Anything but that. The guards gently placed golden silk over his shoulders, like he was already part of the ceremony. He tried to remove it, but the silk reattached itself automatically. Mark panicked. Why is this cloth alive? One guard replied proudly, it senses your destiny. Mark nearly fainted. The queen led him through a glowing corridor. Strange music followed them, soft hums mixed with alien bells. Mark felt like he was walking into his own funeral. When they entered the large Hall of Union, Mark completely froze. The entire place looked like a wedding stage. Bright floating lanterns, flower arches glowing with pink light, a long red crystal path leading to a raised platform, and worst of all, hundreds of aliens were already seated inside. Every single one of them turned and stared at Mark with big excited eyes. Mark swallowed hard. Why are they all here already? The Queen smiled proudly. Valora does not delay celebrations. Celebration? Mark whispered. This is a misunderstanding festival. But no one heard him. The three princesses entered from another door, wearing new dresses, long shimmering gowns that floated around their bodies like mist. The crowd gasped in admiration. Princess number 1 waved shyly. Princess number 2 winked. Princess number 3 gave him a thumbs up, apparently their version of "don't worry, future husband." Mark squeezed his eyes shut. I have to fix this. I have to fix this. The Queen raised her hands. Instantly, the entire hall fell silent. People of Valora. Today, the human Mark Wren begins the first bonding ceremony with our daughters. The crowd cheered so loudly the floor shook. Mark tried to shout, "No, stop. WRONG." But the royal drums started playing and no one heard him. The Queen gestured for him to walk down the red path. Mark walked like a man marching to his doom. Every alien in the hall smiled at him like he was the luckiest creature alive. Halfway down the path, an alien child ran up to him holding a glowing flower. "For your courage," she said sweetly. Mark forced a smile. "Thank you, I think." Then the drums stopped. Everyone held their breath. A priestess walked forward. She was tall, wearing a long white robe that looked like it was made of starlight. "Human Mark," she said, "do you understand the meaning of this ceremony?" Mark opened his mouth to speak the truth, but before he could say a word, the translator device glitched that instead of Mark saying, "This is a misunderstanding," the device loudly announced, "I accept the sacred bond with all my heart." The hall exploded with cheers. Mark grabbed the translator and shook it violently. "No, I didn't say that, bad device." But the aliens heard something else again. "My love is powerful." The princesses gasped with joy. Princess number 2 almost fainted. Princess number 3 giggled like she just won a prize. Mark felt his brain melting. The Queen lifted her arms again. "Begin the union steps." Mark had no idea what the union steps were. He would soon learn. 4 alien women came forward, carrying a golden bowl filled with glowing dust. They sprinkled it around Mark. The dust instantly stuck to his clothes and skin. He panicked. "What is this?" The priestess smiled. "Love pollen." Mark's jaw dropped. "Love what?" "Pollen of unity. It makes your emotions stronger." Mark started sneezing violently. "My emotions are dying." The crowd thought his sneezing was a romantic human ritual. They clapped even louder. Then the Queen gave the final command. "Bring the crown of promise." A guard walked forward holding a golden crown that floated slightly above her hands. It glowed bright pink. "Too pink." Mark whispered in horror. "Is that a wedding crown?" Princess number 1 stepped closer, blushing. "It is tradition. The groom wears it first." "I am not the groom." Mark screamed internally. He finally snapped. Mark raised both hands and shouted, "Stop everything." The hall froze. Everyone stared at him. Even the floating lanterns paused in mid-air. Mark took a deep breath. "I am not here for marriage. I am not here for bonding. I did not propose. Humans do not greet with bows. And our translator is broken." Silence. Then the Queen slowly walked toward him. Mark expected anger, maybe even lasers, or being thrown into an alien dungeon. But the Queen simply said, "Then show us your true greeting, the one humans use. The real one." Mark nodded. This was his last chance. He extended his hand. The hall watched. The princesses leaned forward. The Queen slowly placed her hand in his. A simple handshake. Quiet moment. Then something unexpected happened. The floating lanterns began to glow brighter, not in a romantic way, but in a peaceful way. The priestess whispered, A new bond. A bond of cultures. The Queen smiled softly. Then let this handshake be our peace. Mark sighed in relief. Until Princess number 3 whispered, "Does the handshake mean we are engaged or only dating?" Mark almost screamed again. Mark felt a tiny bit of relief after. The handshake. The Queen understood him now. The princesses seemed calmer, almost calm. Princess number 3 was still staring at his hand like it was some magical love tool. But at least no one was lifting dresses anymore. For the first time. Since landing on Valora, Mark thought, maybe I can fix this. Maybe I can actually save the mission. But Mark had forgotten one important thing. When humans fix something, aliens sometimes misunderstand it even more. And that is exactly what happened. The Queen's announcement, the Queen raised her arms. The hall fell silent again. "People of Valora," she said proudly, "the human has shown us a new greeting. A greeting of peace, trust, and connection." The aliens nodded with big smiles. Mark nodded too. "Good, great, perfect." But the Queen continued, "And because of this beautiful gesture, the bonding ceremony will continue." Mark froze. "The what? No continuation. Stop." But it was too late. Drums started pounding again. Alien dancers entered the hall. A giant floating banner appeared above them that read in glowing letters, "Welcome, Royal Human." Mark screamed inside his head. Princess number 2's bold move while the Queen explained the next steps. Princess number 2 quietly came closer to Mark. She slid next to him like a cat planning something mischievous. She whispered, "Human Mark, I have a question." Mark whispered back, "Please tell me the question is, do you want to go home? Because the answer is yes." She smiled sweetly. "This handshake, does it mean you choose me over my sisters?" Mark choked. "Choose? You? Over who?" Princess number 1 suddenly appeared on his other side. "Mother says the handshake is a deep bond. So, which one of us touched your heart first?" Mark stepped back. "None of you. No touching hearts. No choosing." Princess number 3 jumped in front of him. "But the lights glowed when you touched Mother. Does that mean you want to marry her instead?" Mark's soul left his body for 2 seconds. "No. Please stop saying the word marry." But the princesses only leaned closer, whispering theories like detectives trying to solve a romantic crime. The human escape plan. Mark realized something very important. If he didn't take control, they would marry him to someone. Or everyone. By accident, he took a deep breath, walked to the center of the hall, and raised his voice. "Your Majesty, I request a private talk." The Queen looked confused but agreed. She led him to a small side room, quiet, calm, with a single glowing table. Mark sat down. The Queen sat across from him. He inhaled deeply. "Listen, I need to explain humans clearly, no confusion." The Queen nodded. "I am listening." Mark held up one finger. "Number 1, the bow was a mistake." "Understood." Mark held up a second finger. "Number 2, the handshake is just a greeting, not marriage, not romance." "Understood." Mark held up a third finger. "Number 3, I am not here for bonding. I am only here for peace talks." The Queen nodded slowly, understanding everything perfectly. Mark smiled. "Finally, progress." Then the Queen said, "So, you want a bond after the peace talks?" Mark dropped his head onto the table with a loud thunk. The Queen's confession. The Queen placed a gentle hand on his arm. "Human Mark, perhaps you do not understand the pressure on Valora." Mark lifted his head. The Queen explained softly, "Our people have not found a strong partner race in centuries. We are peaceful, but many planets around us are not. Having a bond with a human, especially a brave one, would protect us." Mark blinked. "You mean you want an alliance?" The Queen smiled. "Yes, a bond, a connection, a symbol. Something that tells the galaxy we are not alone." Mark stood up slowly. Your Majesty, humans also want peace. We also want friendship, but we do that using treaties, not weddings. The Queen looked surprised. Treaty? A paper? That is your bonding? Mark laughed tiredly. Yes, a paper bonding. No dresses, no bows, no pollen. The Queen thought for a moment. That is very boring. Mark shrugged. It works. The Queen nodded slowly. Very well, human Mark. No wedding, no romance. Instead, a treaty of peace. Mark felt joy explode inside his chest. Yes, thank you. But, the Queen added, there is a small problem. Mark's smile vanished. What small problem? The Queen stood up. The city already believes you accepted the 3 princesses. If I cancel the ceremony suddenly, the people might think you insulted us. Mark's heart stopped. So what do we do now? The Queen smiled gently. We create a new ceremony. A human-style ceremony. A ceremony of friendship. Mark felt hope again. Yes, perfect. The Queen nodded. But you must teach us everything. Every detail, every human step. We will copy it exactly. Mark paused. Humans have many steps. The Queen clapped her hands. Excellent. My daughters will learn from you. Mark panicked. No, not again. But the Queen waved her hand. The 3 princesses entered the room instantly, smiling like they were about to start a romantic class with him. Princess number 1. We are ready to learn, teacher. Princess number 2. Teach us the human rituals of bonding. Princess number 3. Especially the kissing part. Mark screamed internally. Mark had faced alien beasts, dangerous storms, even pirates in deep space, but nothing in his entire life scared him more than the 3 princesses staring at him with glowing excitement, ready to learn human bonding. Rituals. Princess number 1 folded her hands. Teacher Mark, begin the lesson. Princess number 2 leaned in close. Teach us the full human ceremony, every step. Princess number 3 whispered with sparkly eyes, especially the romantic parts. Mark almost jumped out of the window. No romance, no kissing, no anything, he shouted. The princesses blinked. In perfect harmony, like 3 confused owls, the Queen stepped forward and said calmly, Human Mark, you must guide us. If we do not replace the marriage ceremony with a new one, the people will panic. Mark rubbed his forehead. Okay. Fine. We create a human friendship ceremony. A simple one. Princess number 2 gasped. Human friendships have ceremonies? Are they cute? Are they emotional? Do they involve touching? Mark raised a hand. No touching. 0 touching. All 3 princesses sighed dramatically. Mark's first mistake. Teaching too fast. Mark took a deep breath and started explaining. In human friendship, we do things like shake hands, smile, wave, and sometimes we give gifts. The aliens nodded as if he was teaching them cosmic secrets. The Queen repeated carefully. Shake hands, smile, wave, give gifts. Mark nodded. Exactly. Very simple. Then he made a huge mistake, he said. And during special events, humans give speeches. The Queen's eyes sparkled. Haha, a ceremony of speeches. Mark shook his head fast. No. Not too many speeches, just 1 or 2. But it was too late. The Queen clapped her hands loudly. Prepare the speech arena. Mark's stomach sank. The what now? Guards rushed out of the room. Within minutes, alien servants were decorating an enormous stage with glowing feathers, floating crystals, and cushions of light. Mark whispered to himself. I didn't even finish explaining. Princess number 1 giggled. Teacher Mark, we already understand. Humans talk a lot, so we will talk a lot too. Princess number 2 tapped her chin. I want to practice smiling. Mark, does my smile look friendly? She showed her teeth like an excited wolf. Mark flinched. Maybe less teeth. Princess number 3 pushed Princess number 2 aside. "Watch me. I will smile like a human." She spread her mouth wide, eyes unblinking. She looked possessed. Mark stepped back slowly. Okay. Stop smiling now, please." The princesses nodded proudly, thinking Mark was impressed. The speech arena chaos. The queen led Mark into the giant arena. Hundreds of aliens filled the seats again. They cheered as soon as they saw him. A huge banner read, "The Humans' Friendship Sierra Amoanwaik whispered, 'This is too big. This is way too big.'" The queen walked to the center of the stage. "Human." "Mark, explain the next human ritual." Mark took a deep breath. "First, humans greet the audience with a wave." He waved his hand gently. The aliens screamed like they had just seen a miracle. "Princess." One ran forward and waved too, but she waved so fast her hand looked like a helicopter blade. The aliens cheered louder. Princess number 2 waved both arms wildly, almost hitting a guard. Princess number 3 waved with her whole body, spinning like a happy tornado duck. Mark facepalmed hard. No, just one arm slowly. Too late. The aliens were now copying the princesses. The entire arena looked like a chaotic ocean of spinning aliens. Mark shouted over the noise. "Stop waving. Stop waving before someone dies." The queen finally raised her hands, and the crowd quieted down. "The gift misunderstanding." Mark tried again. "Next step in human friendship. We exchange gifts." The queen nodded. "Good. We prepared gifts." She gestured. A servant walked forward carrying a massive glowing box. The box opened. Inside was a live alien creature, a small blue beast with wings, sharp teeth, and fire coming out of its nose. Mark screamed. "What is that?" Princess number 2 proudly answered, "A fire baby. It bonds with whoever it licks first." As soon as she said it, the creature jumped toward Mark. Mark dodged. Princess number 3 gasped. "He rejected the bonding. That is so rude." Mark shouted, "Human gifts are not alive. They are small things. Like flowers, books, clothes." The queen frowned. "Giving a dead object as a gift is disrespectful on Valora." Mark rubbed his temples. "This is impossible." The friendship crowned disaster. The queen stepped forward with a serious face. "Human Mark, we prepared one last thing." Mark whispered, "Please be normal. Please be normal." The queen lifted a glowing white crown. "This is the crown of eternal friendship." Mark blinked. "Oh, that's actually nice." The queen continued, "Once placed on your head, it cannot be removed for 7 years. Mark almost died. 7 years? HFY. Princess number 1 gasped. "You don't want eternal friendship with us?" Mark shouted, "I just wanted peace. Not 7-year friendship hair." The breaking point. Mark raised both hands high. "Stop. Your Majesty, princesses, everyone. We are doing this wrong." The entire arena froze. Mark breathed deeply. Human friendship is not a huge ceremony. It is simple. It is personal. It is about understanding each other, not scaring each other. The queen stared at him quietly. After a long moment, the queen nodded. "You are right. This has become chaos." Mark sighed with relief. Finally, someone understood. Then the queen added, "We must replace this with an even bigger ceremony." Mark nearly fainted. "What? Why?" The queen smiled. "Because the galaxy must see this new human-Valoran alliance. A ceremony bigger than marriage, bigger than love, bigger than friendship." Mark gulped. "What ceremony is bigger than friendship?" The queen whispered. "The ceremony of unity." Mark felt his knees weaken. What is that?" The queen smiled gently. "It is the ceremony where 2 species promise to share customs forever." Mark prayed to every god he knew. Princess number 3 whispered excitedly, "And humans kiss during unity, right?" Mark screamed internally. Mark stood in the center of Velora's grand sky arena, staring at the queen like she had just announced the end of the universe. Around him, thousands of aliens waited quietly, glowing eyes fixed on the hero of unity. He whispered to himself, "I came here for peace. Now I'm about to start a galaxy-sized ceremony I don't even understand." The queen raised her arms. Let the ceremony of unity begin. The crowd erupted in cheers, drums boomed. Floating lights circled above like stars dancing in the sky. Mark considered running again. He quickly realized the arena doors were closed. The guards were smiling too politely, and the princesses were already lining up behind him like bridesmaids at a wedding. Mark muttered, "I am trapped in an alien romance show." The unity symbol disaster. The queen lifted a shimmering silver box. This box contains the unity symbol. "Open it, human Mark." Mark took a deep breath and opened it slowly. Inside was a pair of pink gloves, soft, shiny, heart-shaped gloves. Mark blinked. "Are these alien mittens?" Princess number 1 clapped. "They are unity gloves. Both species wear them and touch cheeks." Mark's soul exited his body. No. Humans don't do cheek touching with gloves. Humans don't do any kind of cheek touching during treaties. Princess number 2 frowned. Then how do humans show unity? By hitting things? Mark sighed. Nitrogen monoxide. No hitting, no kissing, no cheek touching. Human unity is simple. The queen leaned closer. How simple? Mark raised one hand and placed it gently on his own chest. Humans put a hand on their chest to show honesty. The queen's eyes widened. A heart touch. Mark hesitated. Well, kind of. The queen turned to the crowd. The human will share his heart. Mark turned pale. That is not what I meant. The turning point. The queen stepped forward, calmer now. Human Mark, tell me truly. She said softly, what do humans value most in peace? Mark inhaled deeply. Not marriage, not rituals, not glowing costumes. Just something simple. Humans value understanding, Mark said. We value when two people listen. When two groups try to learn from each other. The queen blinked slowly. The crowd quieted. Even the princesses looked serious now. Mark continued. Peace isn't a big ceremony. Peace is a small promise. The queen stepped back thoughtfully. The arena remained silent. Waiting. Listening. Mark held out his hand. A simple handshake. The queen stared at it. Then she slowly lifted her hand and placed it in his. A soft light glowed around them, not explosive like before, but warm, calm, peaceful. The crowd gasped. The queen whispered, "This is unity." The galaxy reacts within seconds. The floating news crystals around the arena started glowing and broadcasting the moment across. Velora. Every alien watching shouted with joy. The human peace touch. The sacred hand bond. The new ceremony of unity. Mark panicked. Oh no, they're naming it. They're naming everything. But then something incredible happened. Instead of misunderstanding, the aliens got it. They lifted their hands, not to challenge him, not to claim marriage, not to lift dresses, but to place their hands softly over their own chests. Just like Mark showed. A peaceful wave spread across the arena. Thousands of aliens glowing like stars, all touching their hearts in unity. Mark's eyes widened. This was beautiful. Princess number 1 whispered, Mark, this is very emotional. Princess number 2 wiped a tear. Human greetings are powerful. Princess number 3 sniffled loudly. I love peace. For the first time, Mark smiled honestly. They finally understood. The queen's final declaration. The queen turned to the crowd. From this day forward, she announced, the human heart touch will become our official greeting. No more dress lifting. No more sacred bows. No more confusing rituals. Mark almost collapsed in relief that she continued, "And we honor human Mark. Ren, the one who taught us peace without fear. A true friend of Valora." The crowd roared. Mark let out the longest exhale of his life. The princess's secret as the ceremony ended. The princesses gathered around Mark. Princess number 1 smiled sweetly. "If we see you again, we will use the new greeting." Princess number 2 nodded. "The hand to heart. The peaceful one." Princess number 3 leaned in and whispered mischievously, "But only for you. We might still use the old greeting." Princess number 1 smacked her arm. "Sister." Princess number 2 laughed. "He is turning red again." Mark covered his face. "I'm never living this down." The final moment, Mark stepped back toward his shuttle. The aliens waved their hands across their hearts, the new greeting he had created. He smiled, a real, peaceful smile. As his shuttle lifted off the ground, Mark whispered, "Next time I land somewhere new, I'm reading the alien customs first." But somewhere deep inside he knew Valora would never forget him, and the galaxy would forever remember the day a human created the legendary greeting.